titled The Contradiction Economy Building F&B for a Consumer Who Wants Everything. Creating a successful product today requires balancing function, clean label expectations, premium appeal, and affordability, often all at once. A timely conversation in a fast-moving category. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take the privilege to introduce to you our panel. Moderating this session, we have the founder and CEO of Equinox Lab. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ashwin Bhadri. I can't hear you all. What happened to the energy level? Joining the panel, we have founder of Organico, Agro Foods and Beverages, Ms. Kinnari Shah. A warm welcome to Kinnari. Joining them, we have Director of NOTO Healthy Ice Cream, Mr. Varun Sheth. Give it up for Mr. Varun Sheth. Founder and Director of foodstrong, Ms. Karishma Bhalla. A warm welcome to Karishma. Founder and CEO of the Health Factory, Mr. Vinay Maheshwari. A warm welcome to Vinay. And the founder of U Foods, Mr. Varun Kapur. A warm welcome to Varun. Ashwin, over to you.
Thank you. First of all, a big thank you for warm introductions and a big thank you for CMPL for hosting this event. These panel discussions are a great way to get thoughts from illustrious people from the industry. Each one of them is leading their category. They're doing groundbreaking things. So if you all are in the food industry and you all want to scale, please listen to what these guys have to say. I love moderating these sessions. Many people think I moderate these because I know a lot. I actually moderate these because I want to learn from each one of them. So 3 of them I know personally from before. 2 of them are new friends. Before we get started, I do have a very, very serious question for Vinay. How are you growing younger every single time I see you? We'll start with that. I'm very sure there's a routine that you want to share, but I want to start with that first.
I think we have Manas somewhere here. Yeah, there he is. Exactly same question. I know Manas since a while. He's like, "Arey yaar, तेरे को 6 महीने पहले देखा, and now look at you. You know, it's just." And you know, he said, "Health Factory." I said, "That's it."
And so when I asked him this in the green room, he's like, "I eat my own bread." So started with that, right? Okay, so we are going to go around the table with the first one that is in line with our topic, contradiction economy. So today, consumers want it all. They want health, they want indulgence, they want convenience, they want clean, they want affordable and premium, all at the same time. So, Kinnari, we're going to start with you, right? What is the biggest contradiction that you are solving for in your category right now?
The biggest contradiction that I'm solving is the contradiction between consumer ambition and manufacturing reality. Because consumers want everything, brands want things to be differentiated, but every time you add a claim, it becomes more complex. So we have to find that balance where the consumer gets a differentiated product, but at the same time, the product that we're coming up with is scalable. So that is the most important thing. Otherwise, what is the point?
Varun?
Hey, so I would say inherently ice cream is an indulgent category. You eat it for joy, you eat it when you're stressed, and desserts, ice cream would apply, right? So when you think of something which is inherently indulgent, a healthier version that we make, we're trying to change and redefine the way people think about food, think about desserts, that it doesn't have to be a compromise. Though it is without sugar or it is higher in protein, it still tastes damn good. So changing consumer habits, getting people to try the product, I think is where we're at. But that's the biggest contradiction. Yeah.
Karishma?
I think we do supplements, and by definition, supplements mean that you need help. I think Indians are really bold. We believe we can do it all. So I think making people believe that having something is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, I think that's sort of hard on a daily basis.
Good. Vinay?
So we make bread. We recently moved into rusks, pops, some peanut butters, some cakes, stuff like that, right? So we've expanded our portfolio massively. But this has come to us with a massive learning over time, just to address your question. And that was a very important question when we began to launch these categories, that why should someone buy us? And what is it that we will have to compromise on, right? And then just between the three founders, we said we can't compromise on anything, right? As much as we may say whatever, right? The consumer still doesn't want any compromise. These compromises are internal dilemmas. When you hit the customer and you meet him on the shelf, he says, "Mere ko sab chahiye." Right? I want taste, I want texture, I want this, and it's not an or rule, it's an and rule, right? And when you layer that up with price, is where you find the customer in your PMF, right? So, and of course, right, taste comes first, then texture, and then nutrition from a consumer lens. At the Health Factory, we've always worked backwards, right? And when we work backwards, but we still pitch taste, texture, and nutrition, you come to an intersection and you actually start plotting this on a graph, you'll find this one sweet spot is where it all three meets and comes together. You layer a quotient of price on that and you charge a premium. I still believe 20% premium to existing categories is muscle memory. Anything above that becomes a consideration set. When I say that, when you walk to the shelf and you see anything 10 to 15 rupees more expensive, you pick it up and you take it back home, right? But if you see anything above that, you pick it up and you put it back, right? So that's consideration. Over time, that consideration moves into a purchase behavior. But if you just have to get your pricing right, I'd say 20 to 30% also is muscle memory. And that for us has been a massive win. And we don't compromise.
Love the fact that you don't compromise. Varun?
So at U Foods, we're essentially a foods and a beverages portfolio. Noodles and pastas and food, and in hydration we do coconut water and fresh fruit juices. These are clean label products. Now, the biggest thing that we are trying to solve is gaining the customer's trust. There's so much product out there, and how much of clean label who is, God alone knows, but everyone is claiming the same thing. And you're on a rack, you sit with everyone else. Is the thing that you need to focus on is the customer trusting what you are saying vis-a-vis what someone else is saying. That's the hardest part, to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. So we at U Foods do things a little simply. For example, on our packaging, we will not overclutter. We will write words like atta when we're making a noodle with, say, whole wheat. We will try to use 100% if there's a single ingredient in the product. So that the customer, A, looks at simplicity and understands what we're trying to sell, and B, if he really likes the product, try to trust what we are saying. Because the market for categories like ours are so large, the product portfolios on the shelves are so large, that while communication is being done by everyone, I think what we work hardest is to win that trust, and there are these subtle things that we try to do to gain that trust of the consumer.
So I think what I took away from all of this, and from consumers I've met, the brands that we worked with, the biggest takeaway is, if you want to create scale, you have to have the consumer's trust. If and when you have the consumer's trust, you can charge a premium. Consumer is okay to wait. He doesn't want your product in 2 minutes or 10 minutes. Sometimes people will order it on their website because it's not there through QCOM, and it's okay to wait, but as long as you have the consumer's trust. And that is something that most founders should never, ever, ever take for granted, right? So a lot of the founders we work with are always trust first, transparency first, because the way you build trust is through transparency. Varun, Noto Ice Cream, my next question is for you. You're in the category of indulgence, right? How do you deliver guilt-free indulgence without compromising on taste? Where do you kind of draw the line on that?
Yes, there was, before we started NOTO back in 2018, I was visiting the US, checked out supermarkets. I love spending time in supermarkets. I think most people in this room here would enjoy doing that, right? I could spend 2 hours there. And we came across a few healthy ice cream brands, and I tried all of them, right? The one thing I found was they're solving for health first, but they weren't solving for taste, right? And I think the Indian consumer especially, and I'm talking about a product like ice cream or desserts, where you are eating for indulgence first, there's a certain threshold of calories that we could have gone lower on. We could have had our dark chocolate and maybe 40 calories versus 85, but it would have tasted more like an ice block versus a creamy ice cream, right? So I think that line of not wanting to win on being the highest protein or the lowest calorie is something we stayed away from. We said we're going to build a balance between still medium fat ice cream, which has fiber in it, which has prebiotics in it, which has added protein to it, but still needs to taste damn good. And I think using just honest ingredients versus only flavors or essences. So actually using cocoa powder, cocoa mass in fresh fruits. I think those things made a difference probably, yeah.
So many times consumers may or may not look at the label. However, the taste is something that brings it back, right?
Taste is paramount.
Absolutely, because
You
people
can't
eat for
compromise.
taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. My next question is to the bread wala of India. So consumers want a clean label, right? But they expect very high level, like bakery-like quality for taste, texture, all of that. What are some of the trade-offs you had to make, and what are some of the things you refused to budge on?
So I'll tell you, and you're a witness, right? Like you've tested our products. So for me, I think the only trade-off, right? Like just 5 minutes ago, I was like, hey, I'm not ready to compromise. I'm not ready to compromise on taste, texture, nutrition, no process compromise, no ingredient compromise, no nothing compromised, right? Because that's when you actually win the customer. And I think you win the customer with the product first before even the brand, right? And over time, the brand is built, and over time, the brand promise comes into play, right? So the only thing I think that we've not compromised on, or I turned that around a little bit and invested in, is time, right? For me, it's that relentless journey of still doing 1,000 trials before getting the product out, right? Because I'm not ready to compromise. Can the product come out? The answer to that is yes, right? So it's the grit that we've built into the business, and 99% is very different from 100%, right? So we don't take it to the market till it's 100%. And that's, again, Ashwin, still internal 100%. When you hit the market, maybe you become zero and then you got to reinvent, right? Because you build basis what you think is most appropriate. And when you go to market, it tells you a different story. So you go back into the drawing board and then you start redeveloping your product. Thus, I wouldn't call this a compromise, but I think it's time well spent in the heart of the market, right? From your channel partners to your customers, on shelf, off shelf, doing multiple feedback loops, and most importantly, speak to them, right? So, yeah, I don't think we've compromised, man.
So we'll end up doing testing for a lot of brands, yours and many others. The other day, I was on a call with a client, and there were the two variants, and we were discussing something, and they had a very detailed question. Till I noticed, this is obviously an R&D product. I can't name the client because of an NDA. I can say he's my client because he openly says he's my client. When I looked at the sample reports, I was looking at trial number 729 and trial number 745. There were 700 trials before they were able to launch their first product. And this is still R&D was going on. This wasn't a product that's launched, right? This is the kind of focus that brands have on getting their product right.
You're talking about me.
I wasn't supposed to say that, right? Okay. Anyways, something called confidentiality. Anywho, okay. My next question is to Karishma. You're in functional food. How do you balance science-backed efficacy, formats, flavors, and especially when most of your consumers are kids? How does that work?
I think kids are the best and the hardest consumer. I'm a mother, and I know all the science and all the nutrition comes back in the tiffin box if it doesn't meet the taste bar. And you're not competing with another health food brand for the kids, okay? Adults are much easier because there's so much posturing, right? I'm so cool because I have this. Kids have none of that coolness barrier. And you're competing with Kinder Joy. You're competing with Kit Kat. You're competing with, and they're damn good products, yeah. I'd like to have a Kit Kat. Why not? So I think the when you're designing for kids, you definitely have to go taste first. But that is also your advantage because their taste buds aren't as corrupted as ours are when we grow older, right? Like they don't need caffeine at like 8 in the morning to function. So, but they're really non-pretentious. Huh? They're not going to have your product because it's trending, it's cool. Some health influencer asked them to have it. It's going to come back. And if the product comes back in a different twice, the mother is not buying it again.
I don't know if you're running this as an ad, but that should be ad right there. When you're saying these words, I'm like, I hope this is ad copy. My marketing team is here. Like, this is ad copy.
I was just going to tell her, please send me recipes. The dabbas keep coming back.
This is awesome. But by the way, one of the best ways to test if your product is market ready is run ads for it even before you make your product. Fastest validation ever before you do R&D, before you do anything. Does that category exist? Are people willing to spend money on that category? You can run fake ads. It's not illegal. I've checked.
Actually, I was told by a Taj chef, and they're very good at developing product. I think their culinary is very good. That if you give somebody something for trial and they keep it back after a sip, no matter what they say, it's not good enough. If they finish it up, you've got the right product.
Love that one too. When I really like something, I actually ask them for like a refill, then you know it's really good. Varun, U-Foods, this is for you. So convenience is a non-negotiable today, right? How are you innovating and delivering at speed without diluting brand, quality, everything?
So we don't do D2C for starters. So we don't sell through our website. We sell through retailers. And in the whole retailer gamut, we are quite dominant on the new retailing format, which is quick commerce. So in our context, we've moving towards a distributed warehousing model. Q-commerce is now kind of widespread, gone into several cities, several pin codes, and they're only getting denser, they're only getting wider in their geographic coverage. For us, the convenience is a step back from the convenience that quick commerce is providing to its customers. So we make sure that with our distributed warehouse model, we are quicker to supply to quick commerce warehouses. That ensures that quick commerce warehouses are able to put our products in front on the dark stores, which means they're available on the platform when a consumer is searching. So with this whole hyper growth that quick commerce is going through, and brands kind of, at least challenger brands, kind of using that channel to really grow their business, grow consumer love. For us, it was a necessary forward integration into going into this distributed warehouse model. And I think that will ensure that your lead times are cut down, your overall costs are lower, you're more efficient, and you never go out of stock on the platforms.
Excellent. Kinnari, my next question is for you. So you're in co-packing and product development space. You work with a lot of new age F&B companies and you work with them before their product hits the shelf, right? What are some of the mistakes these brands are making, especially when they're moving from idea to commercially available products, right? And how are you helping them with the products, and how are you helping them with scale, compliance, commercials, all of that?
So, when a lot of times people come to me, I have made this in the kitchen and now I want to scale this up. And I have tried this. I have worked with XYZ. He's developed my product. I'm not going to take names here. And now I want to take this to co-packing. Like I want to scale it up. But a good tasting product or a good tasting sample does not necessarily mean that it is process, it's scalable, right? So that is the gap that I'm addressing day in and day out. Before a product goes to the shelf, there are so many things that we kind of look at. It is the ingredient availability, it is the yield, it is the, how do I say this? How each ingredient also works together. It has to be shelf stable. I mean, I think a lot of people come to you for that. And it's a whole process. And my job right now is simply to simplify this for new age brands and to make them simplify it in such a way that they don't make these expensive mistakes. So a product without a process, a good process, or without a good scalable process is just a prototype. You are not going to be able to grow with a prototype. What you're going to need is a product that has the backing of a good process, and that is where we come in, and that is where how your product will grow.
So you said my favorite word, a word that I use about 100 times a day, process. Because any time you want to create scale, right? My team who's sitting is laughing because they hear me say this word 100 times a day. If you want to create scale, it has to be process driven. There is space for innovation. Innovation is where people will come in. But when you want to create scale, that has to be process driven. There is no two ways about it. You have to have SOPs. You have to have audits of your processes. You have to have them written down. Trainings have to be given. That's the only way you're able to create scale. So my next question is to Vinay and Karishma, both of you, right? Consumers are today way more aware than before, but they're also very skeptical. How do you build trust beyond label claims, beyond certification? How are you building trust? Either, yeah. Vinay, you can take a stab at it.
That's a very interesting question. I'd say, see, for example, right, brands are built over time, and I get asked this. The easiest way, rather, to do this would be running ads and doing stuff, educating the consumer about this. That's like the easiest way, right? But how many ever dollars you spend on those ads, right? The reach is not as much because it's an endless ocean, right? Thus, to me, and when I get asked, when I'm sitting with a couple of investors here and there, like they tell me, when a brand bana, right? And what do you need for that? And my answer to them is, I don't think I need money as such for that. I need time for that, right? I've started realizing the value of time in everything that I'm putting in, right? Like, it's insane. Like, when you start valuing time and you start looking at it as a different dimension, it gives you very different answers. But still, again, drifting away from what you asked, right? How do you win the customer? How we've been able to do that is with our laser sharp positioning, right? By being true to ourselves. And then when you see others follow the trend, right? Like, for example, and even if you write this on Google, right? We created India's first protein bread, right? And we single-handedly changed the narrative in India by introducing the zero maida, right? As a claim. And then it went so widespread, it went to multi-categories, right? And like, when we put that on the market, we saw that 2 years in, the giants also followed, right? And then it became a wave, right? Everyone started following. And then when you put a slice on the table with competition, I'd say let the best product win, right? And with Q-commerce, like you said, with the kind of distribution accessibility it gives us, it becomes a level playing ground for everybody, right? How we were winning there is we didn't change our recipe formulation, and we were just original to what we were, out there to do. How were we winning again? We were consistent. We were available at the right time, at the right place, replicating with the process you spoke about, with the distribution he spoke about, at the right price, at the right taste, at the right texture, at the right nutrition. When all these variables came in together and started floating for us as, okay, now we think we have a winner, right? That to me was PMF. And that will take time.
Love it. So, Karishma.
I operate in a category actually where clean label is sort of table stakes. I haven't seen a brand in recent times which is not clean label. And clean label is like cool. Everybody has a different definition of clean label. Every consumer has a different definition. Every brand has a different definition. So clean label is, pardon my French, but I think the most bastardized term that has been used here. Everything is clean label and nothing is really clean label, right? So it's to my mind, it's sort of, it's sort of having an FSSAI license. You must. And I think you will really not like this answer, especially people who are looking to start out here will not like this answer. I completely agree with Vinay, you need time. And I think that's the biggest problem with being a startup, right? You're trying to crunch the time that it takes and to do something. But it is also what you said, process. And it is about doing the same thing again and again and again and again and again.
Consistently.
Yeah. So the trial you can get because you've spent marketing dollars. The repeat or the trust, I think, or advocacy, which I think is the biggest. When you tell somebody else ki yaar ye food strong ka protein try karna, that comes when the customer truly feels the difference. And customers don't automatically feel. So you have to have a CRM engine at the back to tell. First, you have to do the right thing, sort of not change the formulation, but then also work with them to make sure that they understand what they're doing, check in with them, make them feel wanted after the sale event has happened. So I think it's a really boring, hard, get up and do the same thing every day kind of journey.
But coming to that, I had a question for you. What is your definition of a clean label?
Of a
Clean
clean
label.
Even I wanted to say something to that, and you're absolutely right, right? Labels today are built on whims and fancies. People call things low sugar because they feel it's low sugar, right? But if you read the guidelines, there are clear-cut definitions which are written. For example, right? I was damn excited to launch the cake. But cake, you need sodium bicarbonate, right? Now, as much as I would love to call it clean label, but I can't call it clean label. But what my take on that, and I don't advertise that because we promote clean label, but sodium bicarbonate as an ingredient for us was still a household ingredient, right? But I still didn't go down the route of, taking that liberty of putting the clean label stamp because, hey, you know what, no one's questioning it out there in the market, and it's very easy to trick the customer. But we said, hey, you know what, we won't do those shortcuts. So INS numbers, E numbers, the moment those get into play, you're off clean label.
Recently, there was a change in beverages. A couple of years back, DI apple. I mean, I'm sure you're aware about it. It's basically apple juice or apple concentrate, and the color is removed. And people used to misuse it. Put it in their product and say, boss, मेरा product तो sugar free है, सिर्फ apple juice है या DI apple है. And the reason they used to do it, it was a colorless product. Now, FSSAI brought in some rules which kind of it told people, boss, don't try to fool customers or consumers. Stop doing this. You're not allowed to put DI apple. But till date, there are brands still doing it. And I hope FSSAI...
They're watching.
They're watching. I hope they're watching. But yeah, clean label.
According to me, the definition of clean label is, would you be able to read out with pride what you've put in your product? And will the customer understand it? The minute you say E numbers and you're hiding behind something else, that is not a clean label, right? So for example, any product that I use I call it clean label because I can pronounce everything in it. I know exactly what is in it. There is nothing hidden. When you create, for example, protein powders, you're going to need to add stabilizers. You're going to need to add something, but it's okay to say it out loud, right? You're not hiding behind something that can be misinterpreted in any other way, right? So right now there's a big dialogue going around analog paneer and analog cheese, and FSSAI has finally put some regulation around that as well. So what I took away from what both of you said is time is required, right? So I was talking to one of my mentors and I'd come up with a very aggressive plan to launch a new thing. And I was like, no, I want to go faster and I want to reach so many people and on. And then we went for it. And the second thing on the agenda was, it was a 2-year plan to do something. And I was like, okay, I think, I'll possibly shut down this project. It's not making sense. But my mentor said, why? I said, it's going to take 2 years to become successful. Then he said one line which stayed with me. He's like, the time is going to pass anyways. 2 years is anyways going to pass. So what are you worried about, right? It's anyways going to pass. But when you're building something, you need to have patience. When you're onboarding investors, onboarding any kind of partners, make sure that they also understand that you're building something patiently. I haven't seen a single good food company that has become an overnight success, right? Everyone has taken a lot of time and patience to build products that they do. My next question is for both the Varuns, right? As you scale across multiple channels, you're doing D2C, modern retail, QCom, e-com. How do you maintain consistency in the product experience? Start with you, Varun.
So, for us, foods and beverages, let's assume that if you want to build a scaled food and beverage packaged beverages brand in India, let's assume that taste is of paramount importance and value in terms of pricing, if you really want to scale, is of paramount importance. So that is hygiene. I mean, you need to do that consistently. So customer experience for us actually doesn't start there, because that for us is par for the course. We oversimplify internally how we look at customer experience. I'll take an example. We always look up to larger brands and see what they are doing right and to kind of imbibe from. So I'll give an example of Parle-G. Now, all of us sitting here have consumed Parle-G at some point in time, and whenever we want to consume Parle-G, we know for sure whichever store we go to, we'll get a Parle-G. That is customer experience for us. I mean, I'm saying taste and value is hygiene. That वो नहीं है तो anyway, कोई वजूद ही नहीं है. But that availability, that 999 out of 1,000 times I'm going to get. So I'm going to go in my sleep also to the Kirana store, or to the QCom platform, or to Amazon, or to DMart, and that Parle-G packet I'm going to get. That for us is customer experience. And that also creates stickiness. What they're also doing in the process is that whenever there's a challenger, whenever there is a me too, they're dissuading that person from even trialing that product, because you're always there. You know Parle-G as a brand. Obviously, they've invested heavily in the brand and they've become a household name. But that availability for us is customer experience. So for us, what we do is wherever we sell quick commerce, availability. So someone wants to eat a Korean ramen, it needs to be there. We don't, once they've started eating our product and they're liking our product, we don't want them to go to XYZ Korean ramen. That is a loss of customer. All the marketing dollars that you spent on acquiring him or her in the first place, all lost. I'll give you another example. So we oversimplify, as I said, customer experience internally. Airports. We travel, we end up buying something on an airport to drink or to eat. Now, generally, you end up buying the product and it's priced exorbitantly. It is at some skyrocket price. And whether you say it aloud or you think it in your mind, it is, ye to loot hai. So when we onboarded our coconut water on vending machines in the airport, we had one thing written in our contract: our MRP won't change. We sell at 60 rupees on QCom, 60 rupees in Reliance, 60 rupees in DMart, and 60 rupees in the vending machine on the airport. That for us is customer experience. Ye loot raha hai, give a negative connotation. I mean, kitna hi bottle bech lunga, kitna hi kama lunga. I'm okay with that 3 rupees, 4 rupees that I earn, rather than not earning maybe 30 bucks. In any case, if you overprice it, also it's not you that are earning as a brand. It's either the airport or the vendor in the middle. So that for us is customer experience. You cannot, so even for example in DMart, we don't have differently repacked products which are optical illusions in terms of a discount and then bringing it down and saying, hey, you buy one, get one. It's the same product that is there on QCom, same in Reliance, same in DMart, no change in pack. So that for us again is customer experience. The discount could be slightly higher in DMart. That's the way they operate. It's a deep value retailer. They also, kind of bring down their margins compared to somebody else. So it's a win-win. But the pack is the same. You will never go and say, I bought it here. Either to itna hai, ye hai, wo hai. So we oversimplify customer experience. As I said, taste and value is hygiene. Wo nahi hai, to in any case, there's nothing. But these for us, availability, just have your eyes closed, I order it comes to me in 10 minutes. The pricing being the same, the pack size being the same. And again, it goes back to our first is how do you win trust? So this also, in a way, is a journey towards building that customer love, customer trust.
Love it.
Super, dude.
I think really interesting answer. For us, it's honestly product, because ice cream is such a temperature sensitive product. Cold chain, I think, has improved a lot over the last 5 years. It's still not where global standards are. at this, and one very interesting conversation we had with Blinkit just before summer started. They've become the largest cold chain company in the country. Right? So they've decided not to invest in promotions, ads, discounts to promote a category like ice cream, but they built 40 warehouses and minus 25-degree vehicles to be able to give the customer a better experience at the touch point, right? And I think one of the biggest pain points in ice cream in quick commerce is you often receive melted products, semi-melted products, and not just with NOTO, it could be Amul, it could be any other brand, right? It's their warehouses or dark stores are so busy and they're still figuring out how to keep up with the volumes while maintaining temperatures properly, right? So it's not perfect today, not for us, not for other ice cream brands, and we're cognizant about that. When we're delivering on food aggregators like Swiggy and Zomato, where we control to a larger extent, we give gel packs, we put dry ice, so the product reaches fairly intact. What we've otherwise learned is to work with the cold chain limitations or infrastructure that we know exists. So if you do something which is chocolate coated or chocolate enrobed, it's insulating the ice cream essentially inside, and there's less temperature shocks that are going on, so you won't get a icy ice cream or a melted ice cream as much. So that's one thing we do, is try and push those kind of products. And then we do water-based products, so fruit and water, which is essentially going to just freeze into a much harder consistency. It's going to be more resistant to temperature shocks. You have packaging solutions on top, as a layer on top to help. So I think we try to work with what we know will deliver a good experience at the end of the day. So products are catered as per the channel also, in our case.
One good thing is, whenever I've ordered NOTO, not a single time has it ever come in a bad shape. So I think kudos to that.
Yeah,
and I order
you.
NOTO
Yeah.
way more than I want to.
Thank you.
So weekly indulgence for me, right? Okay. So my
We'll
next.
make it a daily one, hopefully soon.
So now this is going to be an open question to all, and I think I'm really curious to know how each one of you handle this, because this is something which is very close to my heart personally. Innovation. How do you do innovation in your processes today? Is it product? Is it process, packaging, positioning? How are you guys innovating? We will go down the line. Start with you, Kinnari, and we'll go down the line.
Product and process. I'm a big believer of process, and like we have been constantly staying a step ahead in terms of the Indian market. Like today, we have a ready vegan protein water ready. In the sense, I was not planning to bring it for the exhibition, but we wanted to kind of understand the feedback, and the feedback has been phenomenal, touch wood. So visiting exhibitions abroad and all, it gives us a lot of idea where the market is going. Prebiotic, if you're trying to do now or launch now, I mean, unless you've already started the process, that's a different thing. My client will complain otherwise. But don't start now. It's done. But yeah, like coming up, you really see consumers want something that is innovative, but it also meets their needs, and consumers want something that is consistently developed. And for that, you need process. So innovation on both sides is important, and go to someone who will make your process again easier, so that you can work on things and you can focus on things that are your forte.
Yeah, I think another way to look at innovation or think about innovation would be your marketing and your content. I think product moat is very, very hard to build. We all think we have the best product, but somebody else is close enough always and can surpass you very easily. There's very, very few brands I know who have a real product moat in the food space. So I think your content game in today's day and age plays a huge part. So that's that's a more general, different way of thinking about innovation. But I think people need to invest more heavily in their content, in their social media and all of that, right? Putting yourself out there maybe as well from an early stage. But on the product front, I would say a couple of things. One is thinking about, in our case, you want to indulge. As customers, we all want to indulge, but we don't want to feel guilty about it. So when you make something which is more mini-sized or portion-controlled, you are less hesitant to go and reach out for that. I'll have a piece, I'll have 2 pieces, and I'm okay. Versus I want to reach out for a half-liter tub of something, right? So the psychology, same product, same everything, but just the size which is different. So that's one. And the other thing I would say is in ice cream as a category, it's one of the probably the most innovative categories where you have to do some kidas every year, something new, something fun. Novelty products, which is essentially not plain cups and tubs. So think about cassata, think about cakes, sundaes, cones. These are 70% of any ice cream brand sale. So trying to combine texture is important. Then coupling that with portion size and other things also helps.
So another follow-up question for you, Varun, is when you come up with new flavors, is that something you and your team think about and put it out there, or is it more customer-led where customers ask you for something and you guys then create it? How do you guys look at that?
Yeah, I think our approach has been a little bit more maverick, and I don't know if it's the right approach or not. We try to differentiate because I think us launching a butterscotch, like maybe 3 others have already, or 10 others have already, I think then it becomes a price war. Everybody has the same USPs, same flavor, same everything. Somebody might have better distribution than you have as well. So unless you have a distribution moat or some other moat, which is a layer before that, then you can play that game. In our case, we don't have that. So we need to innovate on the flavors, on the texture of the product and all those things as well. Yeah.
Karishma, how do you guys do innovation? And what all are you all innovating?
So I have a confession to make. I've been a founder for about 5 years now, and the early part of this tenure, I have believed in rampant product innovation. Like keep launching. It's so easy to launch a product once you have the basic NPD pipeline, from flavor to and especially we do powder. Stability is easy. You can very quickly come up with something. And then there comes a time when you realize that, oh shit, I have launched this. But apart from my mother, nobody really knows that it exists, because all my marketing dollars are still going to my hero SKU, because that's honestly the one that sells, right? So I've actually now swung the other direction on innovation. And I've also realized that customers like having the same thing again and again, especially in the supplements category. And that's very different by category, right? So I now believe that if you innovate 1% every day, you will have a 3,000 times better product by the end of the year. So every day you innovate, and it's not just external, right? You innovate the way your dashboards are made, so that one person spends, 2 hours less populating random data. That's a day well gone, right? So if you innovate on those small things, and the devil is in the detail, the way the packaging works, the way the customer reseals the pack, the way your scoop feels, or little flavor innovations, if you innovate on those small changes, small flavor launches, limited time drops, I think that, to my mind, at least for us right now, is much more productive. And really, honestly, there is no one good model, right? Both models work. You can be prolific with product. You can be a Zara where there's fast fashion, or you can be a more classic Uniqlo where there's 5 designs and you will innovate and create a new fabric every 5 years. I think we're started from Zara and moving to Uniqlo, but that's where we are.
Vinay?
If I just look back, right, and hearing all the answers, and if I go back and if I start simplifying this further, right, and if I put a trait to what innovation actually means, right, it's curiosity, right? If I keep breaking that down, it's curiosity. Once you're curious enough, you automatically start innovating, because you start questioning, right? Now for us, it's no longer that it has to be product innovation, process innovation again, right? A lot of times I keep using this in the organization, that it's not a or rule, it's an and rule, right? It has to be multi-layered. And when you're curious, the fundamental of in a business for us to build this is by getting a curious team, right? Once you have a curious team, each department goes through innovation, right? Product no longer becomes the moat, even if it is the moat. And then you have a supply chain moat, and then you have a procurement moat, and then you have a finance moat, and then you're innovating in each department. And then when you step back and look aside, what for us started as a product business is a full stack business, innovating every day, cross-functional, right? So to me, that is innovation, and that's how we approach it. At least, let's look at something different every week. Let's have one lesser conversation on the same topic. Why are two people doing the same thing, right? The moment you start questioning this, you automatically see at a baseline level innovation begin, right? And that's how we look at it, at least.
Love it. Varun?
So we have a habit of oversimplifying everything. So even in this context, for us, innovation primarily two things. First, how can we reduce the number of ingredients in our packaged products? For example, our whole wheat Hakka noodle has two ingredients, atta and water. So that takes time, and that for us is true innovation. Or our coconut water, it comes in a bottle, has one ingredient, coconut water. So that for us is paramount. How can we simplify what you're consuming? How can we make it as close as possible to what you would naturally consume from products available, say, in the fresh category? And second is, while we do all this innovation and try to do this good stuff, can we provide you the product at maybe 10 to 15% pricing differential from incumbent brands, which are not necessarily focused on better for you, which are giving you what we've been used to eating? Now that takes a lot, because you're oversimplifying the ingredients, which means you don't have the benefit of chemicals, colors, flavors. At the same time, you want to be at a touching distance of pricing where incumbents play. So that the combination of this two, if you can somewhere achieve, which we feel is true disruption. It's now you have a better product. It tastes equally good. I'm not saying better, because that's arguable. But at the same time, it doesn't cost that much more. And that's when a customer can really, an everyday customer can take to it. So again, very oversimplified, but that's how we do it internally.
So the reason I was really looking forward to this is innovation is something very, very close to me, something I focus on a lot. So when I started Equinox, for the first 2, 3, 5 years, innovation was purely on my shoulders. But then I started realizing that we're only innovating as much as I'm able to innovate, and we were already a team of 100 by then. So then I actually spun it around to the team saying, guys, anything new that we'll be doing, you guys have to come and do it. We even coined a term for it. It's called fail forward fast. Every teammate is allowed to make mistakes, no matter how big they are. It can cost us 10,000, lakh or a crore. Nobody's ever fired because an innovation went wrong. So fail forward fast allows us to try new things. Once this got unlocked, people were doing micro innovations, one Excel sheet lesser, added something somewhere, some more tracking. Why are two people doing the same job? Can one person do it? Can we automate some of that? Right? So we're a very tech-forward company. So can we tech-enable everything? So today, I'm very proud to say we're one of the very few labs that do not generate any paper anywhere, which is unheard of in our space, right? The biggest takeaway for me from this conversation was focus on innovation and get every team member to contribute. I was sitting with my microbiology team. Now, microbiology is a very, very structured department. They have SOPs, they have IS methods to follow. And I was talking to them about innovation. So one microbiologist puts up a hand, and she was new in the company. And she's like, we have to follow SOPs given by the government. These are IS standards. Suddenly, instead of 25 grams of media, I can't be like, let's innovate and try 5 grams of media, see if we get the same results, because we have to follow SOPs. Then how do I innovate? That was a fantastic question. Somebody knew. So what I told her is, can we innovate how samples are retrieved, how the readings are taken? Is there a mechanism where we can take the readings more accurately? Can we use cameras instead of manually counting colonies? Can we use cameras? Can we use AI? Can we use automatic colony counters? And then I gave her like 25 examples. And then she realized, she's like, yes, okay, beyond the SOPs, there are things that we can innovate, right? So there will be teammates who want to innovate but are stuck. But as founders, then our job is to ensure that they have the freedom to try new things. And the beauty today is when we have access to the chat GPTs, the Claudes of the world, learn to use those. If you're stuck with how to innovate, I am not kidding you, it's one prompt away. Whenever I'm stuck nowadays, and by the way, I get stuck 10 times a day because I am very, very curious in multiple subjects. It's normally one chat away saying, hey, this is what I'm stuck at. what do I do? I was actually planning to do funny intros for all of you guys. I literally asked Claude, and it did give me a lot of funny intros, but we didn't have the time for those. But I will tell you offline what those were, right? Anyways, guys, I think we are out of time. I would love to open it up for a couple of questions. Okay. If anyone has any questions for any of the panelists, please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. Yes. Can we get a mic to her, please? Or it may be faster if I give you my mic. Yeah. Thank you, Varun. Yes, Niharika.
I'm Niharika. I'm a food founder. And thank you so much, really fantastic panel. So do you guys actually have an answer as to how to build a product for a consumer who wants everything? If you had to pick one each, or say out of 5 different things that the consumer wants, like Ashwin said, pricing,
Quality.
Quality, clean, distribution, etc. Which 3 would you keep and which 2 would you drop?
Ooh, that's a good one. Which 3? So I mentioned that the consumer wants everything, right? The consumer wants, where did it go? Health, indulgence, convenience, clean, affordable, premium. Which 3 would you keep and which 3 would you drop? Only you can come up with a question that will leave us scratching our heads for about a minute on stage. Thank you
What
for
are
that.
the 6 options again?
Health, indulgence, convenience, clean, affordable, premium.
I think all of them, Niharika, right?
Yes.
I think he is in the indulgent category. He will prefer that. I mean, one of the options. Varun, the other Varun is in the more, how do you say,
Staple.
affordable category.
Convenient
Category. And we have Vinay, who is and.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends, right? Which founder you're speaking to.
So, Niharika, I think in short, yeah, please.
I have a simplified answer. They can go with one option. They can buy you. I think that solves. I think we don't need 3.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah. Hi. This is for the brands on the stage, and there can be differing opinions. Sort of an inverted question. If tomorrow, it is hypothetical, so just bear with me. If tomorrow QCOM were to disappear, what would the delivery window is at least 6 hours, so QCOM disappears for whatever reason. What would each of you choose to be sort of your primary channel next? Like, after, let's say, QCOM is gone. So whatever, it could be like a DMart, or it could be offline retail like GT or premium GT or e-commerce or whatever that, or D2C, whatever that might be. I'm just asking, as a
With
question.
that one line, you've just wiped out like billions of dollars of market cap. Thanks for that. But okay.
मेरे घर में तो खाना ही नहीं बनेगा. Now people start cooking इनसे प्याज खत्म हो गए हैं. So I think if you say Q-commerce will wiped out, half of India will have a heart attack today.
Only
But
5% of India.
I mean, that's an easy answer for me. I think I'm the easiest one. D2C. People buy supplements from the website. We sell. When I started this business, I said low shelf life नहीं करेंगे and cold chain नहीं करेंगे because India में cold chain नहीं है. And low shelf life is a very difficult business to run. I'd seen multiple business models at BCG where, wastage was just a very scary number. So I have an answer, but please don't kill QCOM. My life will not run. Business will run.
Who asked this question? I didn't. भाई तू शुभ शुभ बोल यार, क्या मंगल का दिन है, क्या कर रहा है तू यार? हाँ, तू बाद में मिल.
Anyone else wants to take a stab, Varun?
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's always been other channels, and I think they'll always be there. Offline, general trade, modern trade, QSR. I think ice cream is consumed in various ways at various social occasions, touch points, grocery shopping. So I think the brand and will survive, and everyone included here. It's just become more convenient. That's, I think, the difference.
Just like to add, on jokes aside, packaged food. Packaged food is approximately $100 billion industry in India. QCOM today does roughly about 4% of that. 96% is non-QCOM. If you look at some forecasts out there by some consultancies and some research organizations, This industry from 100 should go to roughly about 150 billion by 2030. And QCOM is expected to be going from 4% to 18%. And this is forecast by very credible consultants. So in that sense, what you make out of this data, industry is growing at maybe a 8%, 9% CAGR. QCOM is disproportionately growing, which means that the non-QCOM channels are actually degrowing. Or even if they are growing at the same CAGR. So while yes, hypothetically one can look at situations without QCOM, and I think most of us will continue to build non-QCOM channels. But it's just that you need to kind of contextualize this in the way the industry is shaping up. QCOM is not only kind of growing faster, it's growing disproportionately faster.
That being said, I think we did once upon a time live in a world that nothing came in 10 minutes. So I think that's a good good segue to end that. First of all, thank you to each and every one of the founders. A big round of applause for them, please, guys. Thank you for taking up the time and sharing here. And over to you.
Once again, a very, very big thank you and a huge round of applause to our panelists on stage. Big thank you to Ashwin for moderating the session. And you're going to show all the appreciation with a huge round of applause. Come on. To present each of them with a token of appreciation, requesting Hazel Meneses from CMPL team to please come on stage and do the honors. Firstly, to our moderator, Ashwin. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be generous with the applause. Next, to Kinnari. Next to Varun Sheth. Next we have Karishma. To Vinay. And to Varun Kapur. And let us all mark this moment with a group photograph, please. Can we come ahead, please? Once again, a big thank you to our esteemed panelists. Thank you so much for giving in your time. Thank you.